Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Today, Matchbox March continues. We are very honoured. We have had a friend of the channel, Mr. Paul Hunter. He's from Harrogate in North Yorkshire, and he has got a most remarkable collection of Matchbox memorabilia catalogues in particular, and a book that we've already seen. But the catalogues are amazing, and I used to have about half of the ones he's got, but he seems to have got all of them, I think. Certainly the majority that were brought out. So I said before, I'm going to split this into 3 videos, because otherwise there'll be just too much to see. So we're going to concentrate on the original few years of Matchbox, and the original 4 years. So we're going to look at 1973 to 77, and I think that'll be enough to keep us going for today. So without further ado, let's crack into it, and we're going to see some real treats, I can promise you. Now, I said to 77, I've got all these catalogues here, so I'm going to just move the later materials out. I think we'll include 78 actually, and we'll go 79 onwards for the next session. So, the first one we're going to see is perhaps the most remarkable of all of them, and it's this little tiny booklet that Leslie Matchbox brought out in 1973, and they charged 5p for this, so those were the days, you know. But it included all their products, the entire lot of Leslie Matchbox cars, racetracks and all sorts of things that they did. Let's have a look, see what you think. So, on the front you can see already we've got the appearance of the model kit. It's the Boeing P13. And we've got, I don't know, Stutz or something, one of these crazy Hot Wheels style Matchbox cars here. Matchbox hovercraft, I had that one, and I think it's a Surtees racing car. So let's have a little look. Now, I'm going to be very careful with this because it's quite delicate, to be honest. So we've got Matchbox, talk about Team Surtees and the fact that they've got an agreement, they're sponsoring Team Surtees in the Formula 2 Championship. And they were driven by Mike Halewood and John Surtees himself. Absolutely amazing. And it's talking about some of their adventures in there, how Mike Halewood became the champion. Look at that, he won at Salzburg Ring. He actually only won one. Oh, sorry, yes, Mantorp Park I know, Astorp, is that the same place? Not sure. Sweden, 2 wins, Austria and Sweden. And then the rest he came 2nd or 5th and won the title. Anyway, let's have a look at these Matchbox cars. I'm not going to dwell on these because we're here to talk about kits, but I'll just very quickly let you have a look at these super fast cars. I shall draw out a little bit. There we go. So it's the super fast cars, and see if there's any of these that you remember. Well, I had this one, the Lotus Europa. I remember getting that one, probably about 1971, 72 to be honest. And then there's another couple that I do think we'll come across that I had. What else they got? Lamborghini, Marzai. Don't remember that one. Yes, I do remember the Marzai. I must have had that one. I think I had that one as well. Don't think I had the racing cars or the buses. But this one is the one I remember, one of the favourites. This one here, the Clipper. Now, any of you remember that? When you had this lifting, almost like a cockpit style frontage over the main interior of the car, and when you ran it along the road or the track or whatever, the exhaust used to go up and down, it vibrate up and down, making a clicking noise, which is quite amusing. So that was one. I wonder if there's any more. There's so many, you know, from the back catalogues, Citroen SM and ambulances, Stretcher, Fetcher. Some of these I think perhaps were not UK. There we go, there's the little hovercraft. That's the one I had, definitely had that one. How about you? Oh, and the Saab Sonnet, I think I had that one. Now the Saab Sonnet always reminded me a bit of the Lotus Esprit. So I'm guessing that was about, yeah, that would be 73, wouldn't it? And then, yeah, there's all sorts of Rolls Royces. And then we get into some of the Roller-Matics. Oh, there you go. Proving what I was just saying. Roller-Matics, here we go. Roller-Matic Action, the newest idea. It has an automatic super moving part when the part goes into action. So there's the clip I just spoke about, and there indeed is a diagram showing the exhaust going up and down. And then you got Cascade. They had all these other games and toys they used to do. Now, Skybusters. Now, here's something else that... this is quite good, isn't it? Here's something else. Oh, why has that been blanked out? Strange. What's all that about? I had a couple of these. I had the Mirage F1 on the left. And I also had the Spitfire. The Phantom? No, I don't think so. I think maybe it was just the Mirage and the Phantom. Possibly the Corsair as well, but just don't remember very well. Certainly had that Mirage. And they came out in 1973. Screaming Demons. This is where they've got these rather curious motorbikes that sort of rev up and do all sorts of stunts and things. Absolutely wild. Some crazy stuff that they were making. They were into all sorts of things. Super Kings. This is a slightly bigger, more of like a corgi style vehicles with dumper trucks and racing car transporters. And then you've got farm vehicles, agricultural vehicles. This is very much like the Corgi or Britain's type of toys. You've even got some farm animals. Whoops, it's quite hard to hold it. Farm animals there. And then you've got all these construction and cranes, buses, so on and so forth. Speed Kings, various, very much aimed at the American market, I think these were, to be honest. Formula 1 cars. Lamborghini Miura, look at that. Cool. Boats for towing. Miura speedboat set. You get to tow the speedboat on a trailer with a Miura. That's very nice. Citroen SM. That's cool. And then you get all these wacky sort of jacked up funny cars. Can-Am type cars. Mercedes C111, that's nice. And a Blaze trailer, which is the Clipper under another name, pretty sure, with some weird lights stuck on the top. A lot of variations on a theme here. You got your sort of Easy Rider style of artwork there. Easy Rider, yeah, look at that, Easy Rider. Now then, now we get into the serious stuff. Here we go, this is the very first brochure for the Matchbox model aircraft kits, and of course this was just purple series to start with, nothing else in 73, and it says available from April 73. Can you see that? Zoom you in. Available from April 73. And of course it starts off with Matchbox are world famous for quality and detail of their model cars. They're now bringing this to model kits. Wow. And you've got the Hawker Fury, the Spitfire, the Boeing, the Zero. That's why a couple of these were dated as 1972. It talks here about the stand, the world famous multi-pose stand, Alpha Jet, Gloucester Gladiator, Focke-Wulf 190, Huey Cobra. Whoops. It's a nightmare to hold this. I don't want to grasp it tightly because I don't want to damage it. The Lysander and the Strike Master are there. So you've got the first sort of 15 or 20 kits. And then they haven't done the artwork for the others, so they're just sort of in this little cartoon form. So you've got the Mustang ME109, etc, etc. But they still look quite attractive, I've got to say. Following that, Harrier, Big 21. And that's it. And then you've got the models of yesteryear, which are these rather nice little sort of vintage cars that they did. Again, very much up against the likes of Corgi, Riley, and all sorts of Stutz, Rolls-Royce, Cadillacs. Huge range of things, really. World War I RAF tender. Huh. I may have zoomed in a bit too much here. There we go. Another Stutz Bearcat there, Packard, 1930 Packard, 1928 Mercedes, incredible, aren't they? And then you get into all this other stuff that they do. They do a lot of kids' toys now, these plug toys and chopper chase. A lot of very eager and keen-looking kids. And we're not going to go through all these because a lot of this is really for the infants, to be honest. I didn't remember that there. Matchbox Motorway. Now this is going right. This is going right back. That's certainly older than 73 as a product. Did any of you have that? Because I didn't, and I always wanted it because it just looked very, very cool. Matchbox Motorway, and it was just basically like a road set, really. And switcher track. Yeah. This was the thing where you turned it and it made like a runner move, so they all moved around. Just different ways of having non-electric sort of car track sets, really. Very interesting. They had some great ideas. And you know, they were in the shops and they used to sell these things. Yeah, and then at the end it just goes into all the very kiddie stuff. We should just talk about the Superfast, the car track sets, because again, I'm sure lots of you watching this will think, oh, I had one of those. And this was great. They had this thing where you have a track set, and it means you can use your little Matchbox car, and you basically flip it, and it has a power booster, which sort of pushes it along a little bit, gives it a shove as it goes by. And you've got all these different sets. It's a bit like Scalextric, but without the electricity. Look at them. They've got Loop the Loop. Now, I had this one, Track 400, where they go in and loop the loop. It was brilliant. Absolutely cool. Look at some of the extreme ones, like Skyjack. This is where it's got an elevator built into it as well. And there's all these accessories you can buy: banked turns, slipstream curve, rattlesnake bend. I feel like I'm about 5 again watching this. And then it goes into all these like little service stations and more your toy stuff, you know. And then the sets, super sets of different vehicles you can get. Combinations, race cars or sports cars, transporters. And then the steer and go. This is where you've got like your first driving simulator. Absolutely brilliant. We've got gears. Oh, you get to change gear like it, just like Dad. Fantastic. And then you got all these other weird playsets. Some of them were a bit daft, I think. Some of them they just went a bit over the top with their ideas. I think the designers got maybe a little bit carried away. But isn't it interesting to see some of those like Superfast sets and things like that, as well as the Matchbox kit. So that was the first time the kits appeared as part of the wider range of products. That's a beautiful little piece of memorabilia. I'll keep that safe for Paul there. Now, the first year of the serious brochure for the kits was 74. And here we have it. Now, it's actually very nicely done, but it's just not enough of it. That's the only problem with this. And clearly they realised that, because very soon it became like a proper magazine style, you know. But this is more like a fold-out 6-page A4 leaflet. So let's have a look though, because there are some very interesting points to note here. It basically starts off over on the left-hand page, and it's got our old friend here, isn't it? The Corsair, which I've just got on the table next to me. And it just starts telling you what the basic concept is and explaining you get the colours. But we've got two of the kits on the desk. We've got the Humber, which is just behind us, over there, on the left somewhere. Where is it? Just out of shot on your left. There it is. There's the Humber. And we've got the Corsair on the right. And they're both featured on this page, aren't they? There they are. There's the Humber. Look at that. And it's basically explaining that they're going to come with a diorama, which makes a really stunning display for your models. And it says that the orange range, this is the middle class range where you have been upgraded to, you know, business class, middle class. And it explains that they've got more parts. They have about 60 parts, and they have got 3 colours, not 2 colours. And then this for me is one of the more interesting adverts, if you like. That's the right word to use. This one here, it shows the Vought Corsair, but what it's doing is it's explaining every different option that Matchbox give you in terms of how to go about completing it. So you have one that's there's 2 different
marking scheme. So that's the first, so that sort of doubles it up. But what they're essentially saying, if you look at 4, 5 and 6, those are the important ones. And what it's saying is you can either leave it totally unpainted like number 4, or you can follow the quick paint guide for the small parts and paint, you know, your guns and your spinner and your pilot and the wheels and things like that, so that they're a bit more realistic. Or you can go to number 6 and you can go the whole hog and paint it as most of us would do today, like a proper scale model. And it says Matchbox kits give you the complete choice. It's a truly authentic replica of the real aircraft. There you go. Quite like that though. Quite like that idea that they're basically saying, you know, if you're not into painting, don't paint. If your parents don't want you to have paints, well, you know, don't use them. You can go as far or do as much work or as little work as you want. It's entirely down to the modeller, and then they actually go into the kit range themselves. Now, the one thing I will say about this, which is kind of lets it down, and don't forget this is the very first attempt at a brochure, a proper one. The one thing that lets it down is they actually go this route of what Airfix did much later, 1980s, of showing a finished kit, which I don't think ever works that well unless it's been finished by some genius, you know. Instead of showing the artwork, which is what they do later, and then showing some finished kits as well, it's just showing finished kits, which don't look that spectacular in this format. So I'll see what you think, I'll see you're right in. So you've got your Lysander there. That's not so bad because at least it shows it on the stand. Like so. And then it shows the box in the background. But then we're just into these rather naff looking photos of the finished kits, which don't look that special. And again, they've kind of done a Peter Oxley here. Well, they've got some where they haven't painted them and some where they have painted them. So you can clearly see that they haven't done a paint job, I don't think, on the Boeing, nor have they on the Huey Cobra down there. I don't know if they have on the Alpha Jet. I never had that one, so I'm not sure what the colours were. But it's as though they can't quite make their mind up whether to paint them or not, and they clearly didn't in the Lysander. Over on the other page, it's the same again, more of the same, and this time we've got that they are all painted, it would seem. Actually, that Hurricane looks rather nice, doesn't it? In fairness, you know, some of them are nicely done, but I don't think the lighting's doing them any favours, to be honest. And it's just not a great photograph to boot, so not sure about it really. And then there's a few where they haven't even got. They're obviously not ready yet, they haven't had a prototype, and they just got a bit of an artwork saying that they're going to be available. Now, on the next page, I think it works better, as I said this before, it works a lot better, this kind of thing, with the military kits, because obviously they've got the addition of the diorama included. So you've got your Humber Scout car, which we have obviously on the table behind us, and you've got your Comet, which interestingly seems to have different markings completely to the one that, totally different markings to the one that went into production, interestingly. And you've got your Panzer, you've got your Panther, there's your Humber. They're not good photographs, I think that would be my one criticism of these. Some are better than others, but those, they're a bit overexposed. And this is nothing to do with the condition of this leaflet, which is in great condition. This is actually the original artwork photography that's gone a bit wrong. It looks a bit overexposed to me. It's kind of all washed out into the yellow for the whole page. Anyway, because you can see on the other page, this is the orange range, and they all look fine. They look really good. The photos look absolutely spot on. But yeah, and the Buccaneer, Walrus, Helldiver, very nicely painted Corsair there. And then of course at the top they've got one like mine that's not painted at all. And then they're promising to do a Skyvan, a Junkers 188 Lynx, and the Hawker Siddeley 125. And that's kind of it. And then you've got, again, there is a bit of a yellow colour cast on that, the way they've done the printing. The this is not the condition, I can't stress this enough, this is in mint condition. It's nothing to do with this condition this has been kept in. That is the actual colour casting when they had it printed up. Somebody should have said that's too yellow, a bit too orange, because there's a bit of a trend of it throughout the photography. Every photo it's just a bit too orange, yeah? But we're nitpicking. Isn't it nice though? And on the back you've got the Harrier, which we've got over here of course, and the Firefly, and you've got them on stands. So you've got stands for all the aircraft, you've got dioramas for all the kits for the armour. These are new things, and those, I can imagine the impact that this must have had, especially that page, putting aside its orangeness, but the actual impact when you see that, we kids at the time were like, oh, that's fantastic. You can even see how it's in prototype form as well. Look at the Chaffee, actually, I just noticed something else here. These are definitely prototypes. The Chaffee has got a completely different type of sign to the one that actually was in the production version, which is a much shorter sign with twin posts. Okay, so that's different. Just a few subtle changes must have been done. So obviously what we're looking at here, we're looking at the prototypes that are probably in the design studio, and maybe that the actual designers themselves took the photographs, which might explain some of the curious cast of the light. But not to worry, we will get into some much more interesting stuff now. This is the first one that I properly remember, the 76 catalogue, which is this nice small format before it got really big. I mean, arguably they're more impressive later, but I quite like this. And it's just choosing some of their heavy hitters, you know. A couple of cars, a couple of armour, a couple of aircraft. Same picture on the back. And again, they are reusing some of this rather orange. Again, you can still see it there, can't you? From those original. It's the photographs themselves, they've got an orange cast. And then there's a later one here, which doesn't seem to suffer from it, the Wellington there. And then they're showing again this concept of, this time with the Stuka, about you choose how much you want to paint. Or no paint at all. So no paint at all, small parts all painted, the detail parts, or the entire kit has been painted up here. And then we're getting into making the model and giving you modelling tips. How to actually place small parts. How to remove the any of the nubs that are left from the sprue gate. How to cut them off the sprue, and how painting on the sprue. Now we all know that that is considered by many to be heresy. That's very bad, very, very criminal. Some will have you believe that anyway. Anyway, here we go, we'll get into the aircraft kits. And we've got the Hawk there, which was only a prototype when they actually produced the kit. So again, running through the same photos, I have to say, which is a little bit disappointing. I don't think the photos that they showed were really doing them a lot of favours here. I'm not convinced they were. I think they'd be better off just showing the artworks. And they actually, in fact, they sort of mix up here because they've got some artwork where they haven't got the actual model ready yet. Then it goes into the orange range, the middle class range. Their photos are definitely better without the orange cast. They're on a blue background as well. But again, they haven't got them all. As you can see, there's a couple here and here where they've only got an artist's impression. Oh, and the lightning as well. So they weren't quite ready. Hunter, oh, all of those, look, the Mosquito, the Hunter and the P-38 Lightning, none of those were ready. So this is why it doesn't work. You'd be better just using artworks, wouldn't you really? Anyway, the Phantom, the red range. Now, just say something I forgot to mention before. If you were, of a certain age and you were, still in short trousers, you turned up to school with your latest model on a Monday, which is what used to happen, and you had a red range kit like the Phantom or the Wellington, yeah, or a Mitchell or a Heinkel 111, you weren't middle class, you were upper class. You'd been super promoted, and this was the best at the time that you could have. But this made you almost a celebrity if you got one of these. And we've got the nice original artwork here as well. Let's zoom you in. So we've got Phantom behind as well, look there, yeah. That's the reality versus the actual artwork. So, new range, it says. New range. The red range. And again, quite a few of them are in artist's impression form. I suspect what happened here is that these came out, if I recall correctly, they came out about June, July, and I think that this came out around April. So this catalogue was just too soon for the actual production run examples of the kits to be shown. But they did have a Phantom though. There's a Phantom there for sure. The cars are here. Some nice, got a nice Can-Am Porsche 917. Again, John Surtees's Formula 2 car is that Formula 1? Best in London Grand Prix, Formula 1. That was not ready either, so they've got an artist's impression in. And then they've got tips on advanced modelling. In other words, using tweezers and elastic bands. And then we move on to the military kits, which I'm hoping... Oh yes, now it's interesting, you can see straight away that this has moved on. These are not the same photographs we saw earlier. We've now got the correct decals on, and these are the actual production versions. So you can see the Chaffee, for example, here has got, I was just talking about the signpost, that is exactly the same as the one just over here. It's the actual production version as we have here in my hand, yeah. I'm not doing a very good job of showing you, there we go. So yeah, that's the production version, not a single post, but twin post. And yeah, you can see that these are not only the nicer photographs, but we've actually got the properly painted up production examples here. But this is where it gets interesting. This is where they go a bit off the rails again in terms of the actual version shown. Look at the T34. Let's just have a close look at this one. Because look at the gun and the turret. Yeah, that is not the T34-76, the standard version. That is the later, is it the 85? It's got the bigger gun and it's got the bigger turret. So that is not the version that actually went into production. So it's very interesting. And we also have talked about this graffiti, Sarts and Vertraven, the Führer. What is it? The Führer means bad news or something. But it just shows that they were still developing the product, and they weren't really ready to produce this 1976 brochure. You end up with the proper artworks and the boxes, those are the genuine articles there. But the fact remains, Matchbox were not quite ready to go to market with proper photographs at that point, because they hadn't got the range done. Now, if we go to 77, which I also had, yeah, I had both of these, 77, 78, you'll see that they make a step forward, and it becomes a bit more what you would sort of expect. And they've re-photographed everything. They've now got them all laying out together as a complete range, and they look a bit more nicely built as well, for honest. Let's have a look here. So, aircraft kits, there we go. Shows them all together, finished kits, what they'll look like when they're done. I'm not sure I'm still not convinced it's the best way to show the product. And you know, we know from Airfix's experience that when they did this, their sales, when they put them on the boxes in this format with a photo of a rather amateurishly built kit, that their sales just dropped off a cliff almost immediately. And they didn't need any much help because we already had the computer games generation coming out. This is rather odd, this left-hand page, isn't it? What a strange positioning and orientation that they've got those kits in there with a big gap, big empty space. That's very odd. I think this was just all one photograph actually, and maybe there was something in that space that they decided to remove because it wasn't ready or something like that. Anyway, you've got your Jaguar and your Corsairs, your middle class orange range here, and then over the page you've got some more. So now we've got the Junkers finally out in production, Junkers 188 and the Hunter and the Lightning and the Mosquito. So they're all out, aren't they? They're all real this time, in the flesh, so to speak. Now, the upper class range, the red range, Heinkel 111, yeah, the Heinkel 115 seaplane, which is a great looking kit actually.
The Wellington, the Mitchell, the Marauder, the Tomcat and the Phantom. All looking very, very fine indeed. And then, this is the first year, 77 is the first year of the green range being introduced, the big kits. So you get your Spitfire Mark 22, 24, Messerschmitt 109E from the Battle of Britain, the Douglas Dauntless. They don't show a lot of detail on them, I've got to say. Oh, there's only 3. So that was it, that was the range in 77. And then we get the modelling hints page, and this is very much akin to the original artwork that you saw on the instructions in the purple range back in 73, but in a colour photograph form. So advanced techniques like using a pin to apply your glue and using rubber bands to hold your car together, cutting out your decals, so to put them all in the water at once, using putty and filler, which in fairness on most of the Earthix kits you didn't really need very often, and then how to do your painting for your camo, and special techniques for dioramas. The military range. Now this is a much better version of that photo which I showed in the previous video of the street diorama, where we had a bit of railway track and a bombed up town. And here we go. Again, rather strange layout with the 3 and then a big gap, with a big space. Not sure who was designing this. I get the impression this is designed by the kit designers, not by somebody with a bit more of an artistic flair, shall we say. But look at them, they look much nicer now. We've got properly painted kits. Quite nicely done on the dioramas as well, in fairness. I mean, the brickwork on that bridge that the Sherman's on is great. It's got a big blackened area where it's been bombed. Here you've got all your others with your German scenes. And now you can see what I mean, that the T-34 is now reverted to being a T-34-76, not with a bigger turret. Although strangely we've gone on the Chaffee, it's gone back to this signpost that's wrong. Single signpost that's very tall, which is not the one that's in the kit. How odd. So a little bit of mix and match going on there. The Vespi and the M16 half track, all there. And then, even in the military vehicles, the armoured vehicles, you can be upgraded to middle class, and you can go to the new orange range. And a nice photo there of the motorbike, look at that. That is cool. BMW motorbike. It's quite nicely done, it's so big I can't get it in. There we go. Still too big. Back a bit. Sorry about that, folks. There you go. That's a bit better. And then on the other side, you've got the Willis Jeep, 17-pounder, with the Morris commercial vehicle tractor. Very nice. And this time again, showing a bit more detail. Really good. Really good. And we've got the automobile kits, which are kind of the same again. There's not much change here really. Don't think they've added any more. But then we've got the new 77. The ship kits came in. This is when they arrived. So we got the Ariadne and the Narvik class destroyers. They look very small. They don't look awfully good, if I'm honest. They look a bit basic. Then we've got the Bismarck. Oh, sorry, the Graf Spee and Bismarck. Sorry, Graf Spee and HMS Exeter, try and get it right. Beg your pardon. And I never had this, I think I had Bismarck. And then we've got the figures, which I spoke of in the previous video, the arrival of these figures in the 176 scale, which is the ones on the left, and then this page is the 132nd scale, which I thought were particularly good. I thought those 132nd big figures were rather nicely done. You only got 15 in a box, but they were excellent. They had lots of equipment and guns, and yeah, quite cool. Went nicely with your, especially the 176. They went nicely with your armour kits. Now this is the play kits that I talked about. Now I had the one on the left, absolutely for sure, and they have these little sort of compressed air cannons, which are a bit play-like, I've got to be honest. And then it tells you about how to build dioramas here using plaster of Paris. Make sure you ask your mum and dad for this. Yeah, and get some help with the to clean up when you get it all over your mum and dad's carpet and dining room table as well. You know what I mean. We've all been there, haven't we? Right, and then 78, and then I think we'll call it a halt for today. Remember this one very well. Yeah, been here before. Now, they've got some new photographs. They keep evolving the photography, as you'll see. So, with the Corsair here, you can see, just here, they've got some nice new, much brighter, better photography. Although on that Corsair they have allowed the wings, which fold, they allow them to droop at the ends, which is not ideal. Mind you, and now we've got completely new photography of the kits themselves. Here we are. So now we're showing them, highlighting the new items in the range. So in this case it's the Saab. And yeah, I think it's fair to say that this photography is a bit more professional now. More the sort of thing you'd be used to. An improvement all round, I think, is the best way of describing that. And we've got the Hawk there in its military colours, which looks quite nice. Starfighter, Skyray, the Saab J29. And then if you've been upgraded to middle class, then you get the orange range, and again some much better photographs. Same content obviously, but just better, just put in a slightly better format, makes it look like it's flying over, you know, the ground in the distance. Some other variants seem to have actually been built as well this time, with the Mosquito for example. And then over here we've got the Saab. It's a nice looking kit, isn't it? I mean, whoever was building these was much improved over what they've been doing previously. Some proper masking has been going on here, and yeah, it does look really good, in fairness. If you've hit the top of the tree, you've got the red range. You get your Phantom there. It's got a nice black leading edge on that Phantom. Is mine supposed to have that? I think I missed that off mine. And we've got the Wellington. Got Canberra appearing, of course. I quite like the way they've done some of this artwork. They're really getting quite professional with it now. Look at this Phantom shot here. And it's got the vapour trails behind it. So I noticed on the other one, I thought it was my imagination. That's got twin vapour trails. If you look at the Saab here, that's got single vapour trail. So that's really cool, isn't it? I'm easily, as my mum used to say, very easily amused. Now then, the green range, they're really big, and it's got some nice new photography. Obviously the range has now increased in size. We've now got the Lysander. We've got some cutaway sort of photography here of the, if you see that, some cutaway shots on the Messerschmitt 109, and I've done the same here with the Spitfire. Hope they explain that to people, because otherwise they'll be complaining that it doesn't have cutaway sections. We've got the Lysander there as well, and then we've got, oh god, I can't believe it, they've actually gone to this very yellow light cast again on the military kits. I wonder why. Isn't it strange? They've suddenly got this horrible cast. Those photographs are not good, I would suggest, compared to what we just saw. They're terrible. Yeah, it's like there's somebody not really in control of it all. It is, isn't it? It's definitely got a bit of a yellow cast. It's nothing to do with the printing or the condition of this brochure, which is mint. It's just a photographic cast. It's not been sorted at processing stage and that. But they've got some good photographs, you know, different angles. Here again, we've got some the orange range that we just saw previously. Again, very yellow cast photographs, don't like them. Same sort of thing with the cars really, but the photographs are much better. And the ships, now we've got some more ships being added. We've now got the USS Fletcher has now been added. And they're showing a lot more photographs, a lot more detail, close-ups. Here we've got Grosvenor and Exeter. Over here we've got San Diego. And then we've got this much expanded range now in terms of figures. So we've now got, they've added Africa Corps, they've added Commandos, and you've got the British 8th Army as well. And on the bigger scale they've now added Africa Corps and 8th Army, which is really cool. And then you've got the play kit again, which is kind of much of a muchness, but as I previously said, and you can probably see it better in this photograph, that these two young boys that were featured on the box, the one on the left looks awfully like me, and the one to the right, under where it says play kit, looks like a friend of mine from just about that year. That's about the age he would have been. So I don't think they took it. I don't think it's really cool anybody coming in my house taking pictures illegally, you know, but it seems awfully coincidental. Anyway, that's a really nice brochure, that one. That's much better, but they just seem to have lost control of their photographic sort of finishing, don't they? A lot of the photographs are much better, but there's just those armour ones were very odd. Strange the way they let it get so far out of kilter. Right, well, I said I was going to finish in 78, but you know what? I think it didn't take me as long as I thought, so I think we'll continue, and we'll stop up. This will be the last one then, and then we'll stop and have a final look at the 1980 onwards. So this is 79 and 1980. I definitely remember this one. And we do have some really nice close-ups coming in here now. So a lot more details being shown in the kits. Models will make you look exactly like these without... The models you make will look exactly like these without painting. Okay. And when you see things like the P-38 Lightning, it's not bad, is it? Let's be fair, it's not bad at all. Now we start with the kits that are ship kits now. Zoom out here, it's so big. Ship kits start here, and we've now got this new range, the gold range of 172 kits of ships, which is pretty huge, it has to be said. And it's the Flower class corvette. Known for its convoys, of course, Arctic convoys and transatlantic convoys. So we're starting big in this kit, and then we're going down in size. Then you've got your Supermarine Stranraer, which looks really nice. New, and the new Lancaster, of which there is no picture yet. Oh, no picture of a finished kit, I should say. Got the B-17 and the Halifax. Halifax is also new. And then, and this is where I think that they were more sensible now, because they've stopped putting these finished. They've gone a completely opposite way to Airfix. I think they decided that the artwork was so good that it was far better to put the artwork in than put these finished models in, especially with the aircraft, which just looked a bit naff, some of them, to be honest. They're not that well made and finished. And they've gone to using the traditional artwork. So they are including some additional photos of the finished articles, which is good. But they're trying to hook you with the, the beautiful paintings, basically, which is far, far more logical, I think, from a marketing perspective. So you do get various pics like that, but yeah, they're trying to sell their art, and it's high art indeed. Let's face it, Roy Oxley's one of the best artists in the world, so nothing wrong with that. Again, they're sort of emphasising here with the Messerschmitt 262, painted or unpainted. That's what it's going to look like. The new Fiat G91Y, I should say. Very nice. And then we've got the modelling hints. Oops. Modelling hints here. Ship kits, purple range here. And exactly as I said, you know, this is I think this is a winning formula. They're showing the artwork and just showing the odd shot close up of the actual kit. That's far better for me. I think that's far more exciting visually. I'm far more likely to buy it having seen some Roy Huxley work than I am if I see some badly made plastic kit. Yeah, and on the new ones they're actually showing the actual Krupp prots, and they got the priest, so those are actually being shown as they will be when finished and painted up, which is fine. They're showing a bit of variety and a bit of common sense is creeping in. There we go, all the artworks that we're familiar with: Corsair, Jaguar, Buccaneer, Beaufighter, Walrus, Eldar, etc, etc. Very, very nice. Yep. This is before they started messing about with the artwork, so they've all got the maximum quality artwork. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that showing the finished kit of something you've never seen the artwork for is the right way around, but anyway, not sure if I should grumble about it or not. Graf Spee, here's all your new ones: HMS Tiger, the USS Indianapolis. That was the ship that took the atomic bomb to Tinian, wasn't it? For the Enola Gay to drop on Japan, and it was then sunk not long after. Yep, some lovely artwork here. The printing here now is absolutely knocking it out of the park. This is the best we've seen. Beautiful. Oh, we've got the SAS Long Range Desert Group here now, new kit, and the Scammell tank transporter. Wow, it's really that's the nicest page. Yeah, I think that's really good. The cars are just the same, no change that I can see to the artwork there. And then we're on to the red range, and we're gone with the artwork now instead of showing the kits, but they do show them at the side here. You know, the Phantom, it shows them having their ladders on the side, which is good because it's an unusual feature. And then same on this side, we've got the Mitchell and the Marauder, and you're getting to see some close-ups. Looks really good. Dornier DO18 and the Prowler E6. E6B. And here's some better close-ups on the green range of the big kits, showing you these cutaway sections, which yeah, you might be better explaining that a little bit, because that could put people off thinking that's the finished kit. Anyway, there's the Tiger Moth, new, and then we're into these. Very similar to what we just saw in the previous years. No change there, except that we've got the addition of some new figures. We've got the Anzacs, and the Japanese have appeared. And over this side we've got again the Anzacs, the Japanese, and some commandos, Marine commandos. And then of course this is the start of the AMT era, so we get some AMT trucks, and we get a Mustang. That Mustang looks like the one that was in Diamonds Are Forever to me. Get a Ford Capri, Golf. This is obviously the American tie-up. You've got the Mario Andretti's Penske race car there. Mazda RX-7, Volkswagen Sirocco. Got some interesting cars. Shelby Cobra. Yeah, it's good. I can actually smell the ink from the 70s. It's quite different to the inks today. Yeah, it's probably lethal. And they used to use proper chemicals, you know. You can smell the printing ink. I've got lots of trucks here, which I'm afraid are not really my thing, but I'm told they're quite nice kits, these AMT trucks. And there's quite a big range. You've got Caterpillars, Bulldozer, and you've got Roadrunner, tow tractor units and trailer units, all sorts. Chevy Nomad. Did that get used by Ghostbusters? Was that a Chevy Nomad? And then you've got these big lorries with the branding on, yogurt, Pepsi, and then finally you've got the Star Trek range, because of course the Star Trek the motion picture came in 1979. I think it was Christmas '79, so that became very popular, and AMT Matchbox had the actual license, so you get your Romulan spaceship and you get Enterprise and Star Trek station, space station. Well, there we have it. There we have it. Obviously there's a bit of repetition from one publication to the next, but there's also a lot of difference, isn't there? You can see how they were thinking as they were going along, thinking, I don't think this is working, you know, photographs of finished kits just not very well photographed, wasn't working for them, so they went to the idea of just using the box art to sell the product, which is what it was doing anyway. I mean, they must have realised that, because, you know, in a shop window, that's the only reason that they were flying off the shelves and outselling Airfix was because of the box art. Anyway, there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. I give that 10 out of 10 every time. There's just so much enjoyment there. It's just, oh, it's like candy. It's like, I feel like a kid in a sweet shop, really. So, thanks to Paul Hunter for sending all these to us. Don't worry, Paul, they're all still in mint condition. We've got one more episode where we do the rest, and we've got 1980-81, we've got the AM2 82-83, 84, and yeah, that's it, 84 I think. Oh no, 84 and 86, sorry. So we've got 80-81 if you like, to 86 still to come. Hope you enjoyed that. Stay tuned for more. Please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to see more of this type of thing, be sure you ding the notification bell and you'll get early warning, plenty of warning that we've got another vid on the way, which you don't want to miss, because yeah, we're now at a point actually in the evolution of Matchbox where we're at the peak of it, and then after 81, 82 they got into a lot of financial trouble. So did Airfix. Airfix were on the verge of going bust, and Humbrol bought them out, paint company. And obviously Matchbox did go bust in 82. But anyway, we'll come to that later. Please tune in next time, folks. We'll be back very soon with the final instalment for these, looking at these lovely catalogues, and taking another stroll down memory lane and having some good old nostalgia, you know. Anyway, in the meantime, thanks a lot for joining me, taking the time and the trouble to watch. Please give your comments and feel free to share your own experiences, and I'll see you again very soon indeed. In the meantime, thanks a lot and bye for now.